You look at the Jets and Sam Darnold call. Albert Breer reported last week that 8 teams had called about Darnold, and the Jets are certainly listening, but they have told teams that they're not going to trade him until they evaluate all the quarterbacks coming out, and there's still plenty of pro days to go for Zach Wilson and Justin Fields later this month. Gun to your head, though, what happens with Sam Darnold? Does he get traded? Do they stick with Darnold? How do you see it unfolding?
I think he gets traded, and I do think it will be Washington. I wrote a column this past week talking about why it's time for Washington to add Sam Darnold, and I think it only makes more sense, closer and closer to the day. There's no rumor right now that Marcus Mariota will be released. If he is released, I do expect Washington to be in a ploy because, according to multiple people, it was said that Washington was interested in trading for Mariota this offseason, but they weren't interested in paying the price that was needed for Mariota. So if he becomes available, I see that being a mark. But the other name to watch for would be Jameis Winston. But Drew Brees, as I've said for about 2 weeks on the show now, is going to retire. You then see the news right after the Taysom Hill extension. Now, real fast, he's not going to get paid $140 million. It's basically all incentive. Nothing, everything is voidable. It really boils down to about a 1-year, $12 million deal if he plays in 2021. That's because of the Saints are going to add back Jameis Winston. Everyone I've spoken to has said they're looking at a Jameis Winston deal. More than likely, it's a 1-year deal, very similar to Cam Newton money, about anywhere between 12 to 14 million to be the quarterback of the future on a prove-it style deal. So you look at all these teams that are going to be needing quarterbacks, and Washington comes down to it. Now, the question is, what is the asking price? I've come out and said multiple times, I believe it should be about either 2/3, a third this year and a third next year, or offer 51 straight up. If you can get that number 51 pick, maybe there's a ton of receivers that you can get in rounds 2 and 3 to address those needs, like an Amari Rodgers from Clemson or a Dimey Brown from UNC. So I think that's exactly what I think is going to eventually happen. You're going to go ahead and evaluate all the quarterbacks, and then you're going to trade them to Washington for probably either the 51st pick or the 74th pick.